Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us to start your week. I'm Jeanelle Slade.
And I'm Russ Riesinger. Snow and ice-covered roads in Billings and the surrounding area making for some slow going on the roads out there.
Temperatures plummeted fast in the afternoon hours, creating sheets of ice on city streets, which sent drivers sliding and crashing all across the Magic City and caused hundreds of crashes across the state today.
Billings police enacted the Slick Streets policy a little earlier today, meaning they wouldn't send officers to any fender benders type crashes with no injuries.
Now, police even warning drivers to stay away from hills across Billings because some vehicles just couldn't get up them. We go now to Q2's Mitch Laggy, who is standing by on North 27th Street Hill to bring us an update on the slick roads. Mitch.
Life as usual was anything but for motorists here in Billings today as a cold front moved our way and dropped a lot of snow and made our streets particularly treacherous, especially the North 27th Street Hill that you can see behind me here. Billings police tweeted about 5:30 p.m. Monday saying many motorists had gotten stuck up the 27th Hill north of 11th Avenue North. Billings police are advising people to avoid the area if you have any doubt whatsoever that you'll make it to the top. Drivers were also feeling the traffic on 4th Avenue North this evening. Traffic turning left onto Main Street had to move very carefully around that corner, causing traffic to be backed up from Main Street all the way to North 24th Street. And just a reminder for everybody out there, please be safe while you're traveling these snowy and icy roads. Always slow down a bit and leave plenty of room between you and the car in front of you. Reporting in Billings, Mitch Laggy, MTN News.
And now Chief Forecaster Bob McGuire joining us. Bob, winter is on the early bus this year, and it's coming in hard.
Fortunately, this white sale is a one-day only sale for today only, and then after it's out of here. Let me show you. We had a little bit of snow out of here. Here's some of the snowfall amounts we've seen. Fort Smith had 5 inches of snow. Great Falls almost 5 inches. Shodo 3.8. Bozeman MSU campus 2.6 inches of snow. Red Lodge had another 2.5 on top of the 14 they had this weekend. And of course, here in the Billings area, we had about 2 inches of snow. And as you can see, here's what's happening. We still have a winter weather advisory across southern Montana tonight for maybe 2 to 5 inches of snow across places like Bighorn County. In Billings, they say 2 to 4 inches of snow, but I got to tell you, most of the stuff has come and gone. Winter storm warning still for the Beartooths, maybe 6 to 9 inches of snow in that area. And so here's the way things will shape up. Most of the snow here you see on this continues to drop into Wyoming. So this stuff is pretty much out of here, and then high pressure moves in tomorrow and starts clearing out the skies. We'll have more on that in a few more minutes.
All right, thank you, Bob. One place where the weather is welcome is Red Lodge Mountain.
The ski season doesn't open for another month, but the mountain is already covered in white. A post on the Red Lodge Mountain Facebook page today states 2 feet of snow on the ground and another foot on the way.
Yeah, that's on top of a good base that was already building up. Red Lodge Mountain slated to open on November 29th this year.
Well, 2 more cases of vaping-related illnesses identified here in Montana. This brings the total number of cases across the state to 5, including 1 death. The Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services says a Cascade County teenager was hospitalized twice, once over the summer and again this month. The second case is a person in their 30s from Lake County. Just one of them vaped nicotine. Now, both individuals had a history of vaping THC, the active chemical in marijuana.
Montanans working to legalize adult use of marijuana say they're now allied with national groups, including one that has helped finance successful efforts in other states. New Approach Montana is prepared to spend at least $3 million to get a measure on the 2020 ballot and get it passed. The group plans to submit 2 ballot measures for state review by the end of November, start gathering signatures early next year. One would legalize marijuana use in Montana. The other would be a constitutional amendment to allow the legislature to restrict marijuana use to adults 21 and older. New Approach PAC, a national political action committee, and the Marijuana Policy Project, another national group, will aid in that effort. The group says its polling shows a strong majority of Montanans support legalizing marijuana use for adults. Now, a proposed initiative needs the signatures of more than 25,000 registered Montana voters to qualify.
The 60,000 barrel a day ExxonMobil Refinery in Lockwood could soon have a for sale sign attached to it.
That information from Reuters, which cites 3 anonymous sources. Reps from 2 oil companies, Valero and Marathon, have toured the refinery.
This isn't the first time the plant has been rumored to be on the market. A deal reportedly fell through back in 2016. The price on the plant comes in around $500 million.
An ExxonMobil official in Billings declined comment today to comment on that report.
Now, Billings is a site tomorrow for a U.S. State Department public meeting to gather comments on the proposed Keystone XL pipeline. That $10 billion pipeline to transport Canadian tar sands oil to Gulf Coast refineries remains on hold while the project awaits final permits from the Bureau of Land Management and the Army Corps of Engineers. Now, the public meeting runs from 4:30 to 7:30 p.m. at the Billings Hotel and Convention Center on Maloney Lane. If you'd like to weigh in, you could submit written comments at several computer stations on site or meet with stenographers in private. Prior to the public meeting, 2 environmental groups opposed to the XL pipeline will host a rally outside the Billings Hotel. Now, that goal is to raise concerns over this State Department format that they claim stifles public participation. The rally begins at 4 p.m., just a half hour prior to that public meeting. We'll, of course, have full coverage of both events tomorrow online and on the Q2 530 News.
An accidental fire destroys a mobile home in the Billings Heights Saturday evening, and 2 malfunctioning fire hydrants didn't help matters. Those hydrants are private property that is Cherry Creek Homes' responsibility. Q2's Zoe Zandora digs deeper to find out just what happened.
The owner and his wife, they, bless their heart, their exact statement was they're going to make this right.
An emotional day for mobile home owner Chad Morrison as he walks through the ashes left behind of his belongings lost in the flames.
To see if there's anything I can do. I tried a fire extinguisher. I couldn't do nothing, so I had to back off.
While battling the fire, the Billings Fire Department had trouble using 2 fire hydrants that seemed to be malfunctioning, slowing their ability to not necessarily combat the fire, but according to Billings Fire Marshal Michael Speeney, could have hindered the mop-up.
We weren't aware that the hydrants they weren't shut off, but they were turned down to where they were getting barely a trickle. We couldn't understand that. They had it out. They needed hot spots checked, and it reignited and took off in the rest of the house.
Now these hydrants are on private property, which means it was Cherry Creek's responsibility. So what happened? Why didn't the hydrants work? Cherry Creek Homes owner Jock Claus says the hydrants didn't work due to an underground gate valve being partially closed. How did that happen? He doesn't know.
First thing Sunday morning, Jock and family members were down here checking all the hydrants because it was completely unknown. Nobody knew. So they came down and they made sure everything was up to par, everything's up going, so everything's charged and working the way they should.
Claus says the last time they checked was back in 2018. The valve was open and all pipes were tested and charged, ready to use. The fire caused an estimated $35,000 in property and content damages, and yet homeowner Chad Morrison says he has no ill will against the property owners. He says they're going to make it right with me, and they need praise for that.
I can't thank them enough. They're such wonderful people.
In Billings, Zoe Zandora, MTN News.
Well, Fire Chief Michael Speeney says the department did go around and check all of the hydrants since then, and they are all working now. He also would like to take the opportunity to remind people to make sure that their homes are safe during the cold weather. Keep space heaters 3 feet away from things that can catch on fire, such as upholstered furniture, clothing, mattresses, or bedding. It's also important to make sure heating systems are working properly to avoid carbon monoxide poisoning.
California's wildfire woes are growing. In fact, an early morning wind-driven fire in the hills of Los Angeles sent some famous residents scrambling.
Now, this latest blaze broke out in the Kincaid fire in wine country and has grown to consume an area twice the size of San Francisco. Chris Martinez has more.
A wall of fire roared uphill, threatening a neighborhood in Pacific Palisades. Gordon Gibson rushed home after his wife called to tell him the flames were getting close to their backyard.
She got up, got her dogs, and got out of here. Pretty hysterical when the firemen showed up, but so far we're really looking good.
The fire came dangerously close to homes, but crews quickly attacked from the air and on the ground.
This is an extremely challenging fire for hand crews. If you look at the firefighters, they're essentially clawing their way up this hillside with rocks coming down on them, carrying hand crews, chainsaws.
Hot temperatures, dry conditions, and excessive brush fueled the fire. So far, wind has not been a factor.
Our only concern would be a shift in the wind, and then we begin to get the onshore breeze, and any wind would be a problem.
Officials evacuated about 200 homes over an 8-block area.
I don't like to keep folks out of the home longer than they have to. They have medication, they have pets.
Some residents grabbed hoses to help fire crews.
You can see the smoke from 2 miles away. It looked really serious at that point.
So far, the cause of the fire is unknown. Chris Martinez, CBS News, Los Angeles.
All right, and 43 counties in California are under red flag warnings, and more than 2 million people are without power after Pacific Gas Electric shut it off to prevent equipment from starting fires in strong winds.
Well, President Trump is touting a weekend raid that resulted in the death of the ISIS leader responsible for the killings of thousands of people.
The president even suggesting that video of the raid might be released to the public. Along with the ISIS leader's death, 2 of his associates were captured and are in U.S. custody. And one of the major players in the event, a dog who chased the leader down a dead-end tunnel where he ultimately detonated his suicide vest, killing himself and 3 children.
The dog, whose name is classified, was injured in the process, but he is said to be recovering.
Coming up on tonight's 10 o'clock news, if you thought this snow was a rude awakening, this next story will give you one cold shoulder and possibly cold feet.
Plus, the Montana Lottery upped the ante on its sports betting proposal by getting public input. Check out today's hearing.
And in sports, Scott delivers Q2's latest edition of Game Changers as playoffs open this week.
You're watching MTN News with Jeanelle Slade and Russ Riesinger. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Breen. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.